Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things. I could do all things. Yeah, I could do all things. Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things. I could do all things. I can do all things. Yeah. I'm not afraid of the moment.
Why? It's cool.
Distracting me. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Justin.
And I'm Madison.
And we are two guys who aren't horrible at ping pong. And we also really like to talk about God. And so we thought, what if we combine those two things? So we're two guys playing
Ping pong, not horribly,
while
also talking about God.
Not horribly?
Let's do it.
Let's go. First to 21 wins.
Okay.
Straight up, so you don't have to win by 2.
Okay.
You serve 2.
You serve 2.
Right, because
Yep.
otherwise Zach's our cameraman. He's going to keep track of the score so that we don't have to interrupt the conversation every 2 seconds to say the score.
Yep.
So Zach, you just tell us when one of us gets to 21.
And that stops the conversation.
That stops the conversation.
We can't talk. We can no final notes. No nothing else.
No. Where are we at?
Whatever it is.
We get there. What's our topic for this game?
Topic for this game is God's holiness.
God's holiness. Okay. Before we actually start keeping score, let's just warm up a little bit.
Okay.
And start talking about God's holiness.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, Madison. So God's holiness.
God's holiness.
What is your understanding of God's holiness?
Well, I think to understand God's holiness, you have to understand the idea of the word holiness. And I'm a lit major, so I think of words in
lit major. Help me out.
Or English major. Sorry, literature.
Oh, literature. Okay.
Yeah.
You're so lit.
I'm so lit, fam.
Yeah.
Holiness means, in my mind, I don't have the definition in front of me, but it basically means standing alone,
Like you're the only one like that.
Yeah, the only
you are in your own league.
Of its own category.
Of its own category. So holiness is like otherness.
Yes, and so if you think of holiness in terms of is there another comparable holiness, where somebody stands alone or something stands alone?
I mean, Beyonce.
Beyonce, Tom Hanks. We got
coronavirus, by the way.
Hey, no. We're not talking. No.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Platypuses, platypi. They're kind of the holiest of things because they're alone. So are we ready to start?
We're ready to start. You serve twice. I serve twice.
Okay.
First one to 21 wins. Let's keep talking.
I'm gonna go hard on this, and I'm gonna win.
All right. So when I think of God's holiness, the first thing that comes to my mind is all the times in the Old Testament where God ends up reminding the people that He's holy. Mm-hmm. It's like a constant reminder that God is holy and they're not. Mm-hmm. So for example, when Moses goes to the burning bush, God tells him, God's talking to him through the burning bush, and God says, "Hey Moses, take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground."
Okay.
And there's all these things like the temple, and the tabernacle in the Old Testament, where if you're going to be in God's presence, you better be prepared. You better make sure that you don't have any unconfessed sin or whatever that might be, because God's holiness, it's almost dangerous. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Have you ever thought through the dangers of God's holiness? You haven't scored yet.
It's not scored. It's 4-0 right now.
I believe it's 5-0.
No. It's my serve. I did 2. You did 2. Yes, I have the danger of God's holiness. I think part of that, wrapped up in this, is that fear the Lord concept.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. It is to recognize when you're fearing the Lord, it's like an awe and respect. It's an awe and respect for God because He is in a different category and has a different kind of authority that stands alone. It's go ahead. I can't.
Is it my serve?
Yeah, it's your serve.
My first serve?
It's your first serve.
Right, so there you go. So it's a danger. And
Yeah.
You see that a lot. You see that in the Bible a lot, where people encounter the presence of God and they're freaked out. You know what I mean? And He tells you can't be in my presence. One of the interesting things I think about a lot of the laws in the Bible, in the Old Testament at least, they were kind of they really emphasized the fact that people aren't holy. Mm-hmm. And so, there's a lot of the idea of being spiritually unclean.
Yeah.
And so Ben Sykes, I heard him use this analogy once, and he may not be the first person that ever thought of it, but it was if a fly lands in your soup,
You're not pick that out.
Yeah, it's just a tiny fly, and there's a lot of soup, and so it's not like the soup made that fly taste good. It's the fly just completely contaminated and made this soup like filthy.
Right.
And so in biblical language, there's a lot of this idea of like doing something unholy or coming in contact with something unholy like makes you unholy.
Right.
But then there's the idea
Like an infection.
like an infection. Oh, relevant. But then there's the idea that like God's holiness can actually spread to people. I think it's your serve.
It's my serve, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and on the related fly note, like you can choose to ignore it, but you really know. Like if you choose to ignore that the fly contaminated your whole soup, like you know you just ate a fly. Like, and so there is that there's like that complete changing of status for what it is.
And so God is holy. He's not. His holiness is kind of like a danger to an unholy being. A great way I've heard that talked about is like the heat of the sun.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a good thing because the sun is creating, you know, heat for all of us and all that. But if you got too close to it, unprotected, you would just burn up. I like to think about the idea of like radiation.
Yeah.
Because there is something in this world that is so powerful that we actually can't even like handle it. Oh, it's like a hole in my paddle.
Yeah.
Like radiation. Like
Yeah.
if I'm in the presence of radiation exposed, I'm gonna die because it's just too powerful for me to even be able to like handle it. You know what I mean? And God's holiness is kind of the same thing because we're not, like you said, it's him. He's like other.
Yeah.
We're not that, and so we need help to be in the presence. We need some type of like special protection to be in the presence of a holy God and like live. And that's where I think Jesus becomes.
Yeah, I was gonna say this has been like a very Old Testament focused conversation.
But the Old Testament, like on that note, the Old Testament, we actually begin in the Old Testament as kind of holy because you know we're made in the image of God. It says so that at the beginning of the story, God is holy, but we're also like we can hang out with God, right? Like God comes and hangs out in the garden. Beast mode. God comes out, hangs out in the garden, and people don't have to like
You got one more.
pray. They don't have to offer a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, it's like they just hang out with
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Because his
There is no
holiness
separation
there's no
from
separation.
humans and
They're holy because they are also, like you said, holiness is being like God-like.
yeah.
We were made in the image of God, and then that all kind of gets messed up. But even in the Old Testament, there's hints that maybe something's going to change.
Right, and I mean that's what I think the law even was like foreshadowing is this moment of there is a way to be with God. There is a way to become holy. Sanctification is the process of
being holy,
becoming holy.
sanctified, right?
And when you had the law as this opportunity to be an image bearer of like showing God's holiness through your life and through your actions, that just left people wanting something really specific, and that really specific thing shows up
Yeah, in Jesus.
in the book of Matthew.
The book of Matthew. Well, and there's even hints of it earlier, like the story of Isaiah, right? Where
Yeah.
Isaiah has this vision and he's in the throne room of heaven, and like he says basically like, I can't be here because I'm an unholy man, I'm an unclean man, or something like that, and like I have unclean lips, and so like then an angel comes and takes a coal, and that coal like touches the lips of Isaiah, but that like sanctifies Isaiah and makes him holy enough to be there. And so there's this idea that maybe, you know, like we're at the fly in the soup, the unholy thing has all the power.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden there's this picture of, and there's a Bible Project video about
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really cool,
It's
where
called
the holy
Holiness.
thing on holiness
Yeah.
can actually spread to other people.
Yep.
So you said it shows up in Matthew.
Yeah, it shows up in the book of Matthew, and you see Jesus' redemptive work where Jesus is touching lepers and Jesus is touching people who would have been believed to be unclean or like tainted by sin by their physical disabilities or whatever it was. And you see them healed, and it is like that holiness transmitting from him. It's a godlike holiness. It stands alone in the ability to restore people's lives. And it's coming from Jesus, and Jesus isn't being attacked by it. The ironic thing is that Jesus ultimately ends up dying, but part of that dying is that process of spreading that holiness to everybody, because in his resurrection and through the Holy Spirit, that like Jesus power that he was like going around in little moments, it's like goes to everybody. And that's just like how we become holy and how the Spirit dwelling within us starts to sanctify us and make us holy.
So Old Testament is kind of building up this idea that like unholiness spreads.
Yep.
Right? And you got to be real careful and guard
Yeah.
yourself. But then New Testament, the most holy thing there
Yeah.
is, God, shows up
And he starts spreading in the same way that unholiness was spreading.
He touches
Yeah.
lepers, and instead of their leprosy like spreading to him and tainting him, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, so practically speaking, what is the like? How does God's holiness and the concept of that? How does that actually like? What in the world? Help us, my Savior, sir.
I can't remember.
How
That's kind of what.
How does that like practically affect our lives? I mean, I'm a Jesus follower.
Yeah.
I go to work. I have a job.
Yeah.
I have a family. Whatever. How in the world is an understanding of God's holiness a helpful thing?
I think it like instantly reorients the way you see temptation. It instantly reorients the way you see your relationships with other people. Because if you're living in a category of God is completely other and I'm completely like, I have the opportunity to partner with that completely other and worthy of respect and good and perfect thing.
Right.
Like my temptation to sin is like okay, like I don't want to do anything to make that lesser than it could be.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's yours.
Here we go.
What about you?
Dang it! I'm going for a kill shot. I wasn't really thinking about holiness there. I was just trying to win. All right. Who's serve?
My serve.
So go back to that. How is like God's holiness? You said temptation, right?
Yeah, so for temptation, for me, understanding God's holiness, it's like it's like a recalibration of my perspective and my partnership with Him, and understanding that I have the opportunity, just like the Israelites did, to be that picture of that holy being to other people. And when I fail at that, I'm actually misrepresenting the perfect and holy God.
Well, and you used a word earlier, sanctification.
Yeah.
And the idea is there's salvation, which is kind of something that happens in an instant, right? Like I now have a relationship with God, and I'm restored and forgiven, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I still.
This is game point? I'm losing? I'm winning.
Oh.
Okay.
Game point. I don't know what I have as a score. Don't tell me.
So if I get this point,
it's game over, and we're done talking about God's holiness. So. My serve though.
Yeah, you always get the serve.
So what I was saying is like sanctification. You know, I got saved when I put my faith in Jesus. That happened in a moment. But now there's a process of me being sanctified, which in other words means being made holy.
Hey, stop talking. I know you just want to get your ideas in.
Nope, I'm not trying.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Points. Can't lose on a serve.
Wait.
Oh, hold on.
This is game point for both.
Okay, so now it's tied. Okay, whoever gets the next point.
Yeah.
So I get to serve since you got
Sure.
to serve.
All right.
This one goes out to all the His Hands Ping Pong Hall of Famers. I'm talking Carlos Abreu, Steve Craig, and John Evans. This one's for you guys. God's holiness.